Hello there. A German MEP has warned the EU Parliament that the prosperity and culture of his country is under severe threat. German MEP Gunnar Beck, who previously said the UK made a good decision in leaving the European Union, told the EU Parliament that the latest data puts the four biggest contributors to the EU budget, Germany, Austria, Sweden and Denmark, in recession, and that Germany has been especially affected, where growth is collapsing and salaries and pensions can't keep up with galloping inflation, he said. And he went on to say that the EU Central Bank just sat back while inflation ran riot, and that Germany ploughs in more than 40% of the entire EU budget. And then he asked, what are the Germans getting for this? Good question, well asked. And he doesn't sound like a happy bunny, does he? But he should be happy, because Brussels gets loads out of it. And adding in the expense of the rush to net zero, the number of new people turning up in his country, and the rise in inflation, he compared the plight of Germany to the GDP collapse of the Lebanon over the last 50 years due to similar issues. More people and less money to go around. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And if that comes about for Germany, the EU will see its income severely truncated. All that EU sweetness and light could disappear. But the bad news for Germany is that according to reports there are something like 685,000 people in Libya who are extremely eager to get across the Med and into the European Union. And the number making it across to Italy alone has tripled to 105,000 in 2022 compared to previous years. And we all know that as that number increases, so will the number going to Germany and the number coming across the Channel. So if our government's Rwanda plan doesn't work, we face even more hotels being taken up by the Home Office. But at least we have a Rwanda plan. What hope does Germany have? So the French people are sticking to their proletarian unrest over their pension age rising from 62 to 64 over the next few years. Many hundreds of protesters have already been arrested, while bins have been set alight and blockades abound. But Macron, who imposed this by diktat rather than letting Parliament have a vote, has himself narrowly survived a vote of confidence in him over this pension age rise issue. And we hear that nearly 300 protesters were arrested yesterday alone, as protests spread across the country, from Paris to Toulouse, to Bordeaux, to Lyon, to Strasbourg, to Lille, to Brest, Abbeville, Nancy and Limoges. And at least one French politician had to be placed under police protection, and there has been some violence. While one union boss, Frédéric Suillot, said the pressure would increase, and that people had been ignored, and what was happening now was an inevitable result of Macron's arrogance. But President Macron is planning to go on TV tomorrow and show the people that he's still in charge. Well, that should quell the unrest, shouldn't it? Now here's a quandary. What do I do on St George's Day, Sunday the 23rd of April 2023, when the UK government sends out its emergency system test message to all UK mobile phone users? Now some know, or think they know, that they can turn this feature off. But can they? More on that in a moment. Now the idea is that the test message will be sent out and pop up on all 4G and above capable phones, and you'll get a siren sound on your device, whether or not it's in silent mode. Now the problem is that when you receive the alert, it will pop up on your device and you will not then be able to use that phone until you press the OK button to acknowledge that alert warning. But what does that acknowledgement actually mean is the question. Is it 1. Just to tell your own phone that you've read the message and understood it, and that you can now use your phone with no message being sent to anywhere in the outside world that you've received, read and acknowledged it, that the acknowledgement won't be used to centrally log your whereabouts or to place some piece of data on your phone? Or 2. Does it mean that the Home Office knows it can now track you in some manner and is able to use future alerts to get you to unthinkingly respond when they think they need some more data on you, and also make sure you comply with the instruction they send you? And that's the one issue that has not been thoroughly explained. Does the phone transmit your acknowledgement to a central authority? All they want you to do is get the message and compliantly press OK. Now your phone will almost certainly have this system already automatically installed via one of the latest updates to your device's firmware. And if you dig down in the menu to where notifications are controlled, you will probably see something like this. But if you don't want the alerts, then you can just switch them off. But not is all as it seems here. More in a minute. And it may be one of those things that you have to check from time to time, because future phone updates might switch them back on again. Whether you actually want them on or off probably depends on how far you trust a combination of the government and your phone provider. Now here's the interesting bit that most people seem to have missed. The gov.uk website does say the following: to opt out, turn off test alerts in your settings. If you still get alerts, contact your device manufacturer for help. What's that? You can turn off test alerts. Does that mean real alerts cannot be switched off? Just a thought. So the Tory party Eurosceptics on the European Research Group and the DUP have both concluded what most realised days ago, that Rishi Sunak's Windsor framework is a con job designed to make people think the Northern Ireland Brexit problems have been ironed out and all is now sweetness and light with the union of the UK. The DUP said the framework has fundamental problems. Yes, like keeping a part of the UK in thrall to a foreign power and its court. While the ERG called it practically useless. While Richard Tice's Reform UK party gained new, high-profile members like Anne Widdecombe and Ben Habib, with Widdecombe basically calling Sunak's claims about the framework a pack of lies. And the ERG also says that Number 10 has made misleading claims about what the framework does. Well, I did say right at the start that Rishi was playing a major Boris bluster with this agreement, and it's time he was found out for that bluster. But even if the ERG and DUP plus a few others vote against this deal, Labour will help the PM push it through against the wishes of the now under siege unionist community in Northern Ireland. And all for political purposes, not for the United Kingdom. That's why Rishi didn't bother to check in with the DUP and ERG before he signed the deal off. For the Westminster elite and the pro-EU bubble, Northern Ireland and the integrity of the Union of the United Kingdom no longer matters, if indeed it ever did.